So apparently I can stream to LinkedIn. I don't even know what that means though. Unplugging.
You know me?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
People want you in the
And
they miss you on stream. I don't know what it means to stream on LinkedIn. It says creator mode on. Yeah, I don't know what it means to stream on LinkedIn, but like it says here that I'm doing it. So how do you are live? Oh, view on LinkedIn. They give you an actual link. Oh, it is live. I can see it. Hold on. That's wild. So it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. What's going on, people? Can you hear me? I'm using a new microphone, so I'm hoping I'm not too loud or too quiet. There's this link. Hold on. Where was it? Hold on, people. I always do this where I don't check my audio and stuff. Oh, Rishab's here. Rishab, hello.
Hey, Gwen.
How are you? Are those the Sony MX4 3025, whatever long name?
Yeah, WH1000XM4s.
That's a nice hat. Oh, I forgot to wear a hat. Baby, can you pass me a hat?
yeah.
What should we go with today?
Today.
GPS?
Yes.
Appropriate. What's going on? Which one is better? Like this one or this one?
Your sugar, heavy breathing.
Totally up to the audience.
The audience, what does the audience think? Do you remember? I think I told you this like on a stream like months ago though, that LinkedIn has like this live thing and that I applied.
Okay.
I don't know. And today I got like an email saying like, oh, you can stream to LinkedIn. So it's streaming to LinkedIn apparently.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know that you need like an approval or stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me put this on, but then my headphones are gonna disconnect. No, I think we're fine. Rishab entertained the audience.
Sure. How come GPS doesn't have a hat?
All
Okay, yeah. So we got her a hat.
Wait, what? How come? Yeah, I just put and it says GPS. Hold on.
Yeah, Carolyn said close up is good. So I guess we'll stick to this.
Okay, hold on. All right, cool. Stay on your grind. You might motivate a lot of us breaking into the Azure world. Thank you. I'm definitely gonna stay on my grind. If anything, it's just like gonna get harder. I was looking at apartments today, and I'm just like, oh, I don't. Moving is just.
Oh, at New York.
Yeah, around the reactor. Yeah. It's just so many things to like. You want 2 bedrooms, you want 1 bedroom. How much of a commute? Do you want to pay more so it's less, like, so you're closer, but you know, like, is it too noisy? Check out the neighborhoods, all that kind of stuff. Caroline wants to know. Yeah, my dog's panting. She has anxiety, so that's why. Yeah, all that kind of stuff, and then like trying to schedule appointments, and then apparently people are going like crazy, renting places in the city. Like April just showed me like this TikTok of this line of like at least 10 people waiting to view it, like
That's
one
crazy.
of the available apartments somewhere in Manhattan. I was just like, that's insane. I'm hoping I guess you know, having the salary or whatever, it helps me sort of, you know, get ahead a little bit.
For sure.
But yeah, does this mic sound better than the ones I used before?
It definitely is crispier. I don't know if
that's better though.
Like it's more clear. Like it's really sharp. I don't know how to like elaborate more on that.
Okay. Well, I ordered a desk. I ordered an Uplift. Have you heard of that brand?
Yes.
All right. So Uplift desk. It's 72 inches by 30.
Okay.
And I gotta show you this. Hold on. Actually, I don't want to show because I don't want to flex. But I'm so excited. But I think I made a mistake because probably should have ordered it to like when I move. That way I don't have to like worry about taking it there, like taking it apart in there. But whatever. Anyway, Alf. I thought I sent Alf the link. Hold on.
Yeah, I see his.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I sent it to him on Twitter.
I'm waiting to know what is this new Project Cloud Code Life podcast. Yeah, that's the goal, but we just don't know. There's so many variables around it in terms of like, do we want to do it live every week? Do we want to pre-record and not do it live? Do we want to do the one live each, like maybe once a month, and then the others are pre-recorded, that kind of stuff. But I just shared the artwork because I think it came out super cool. Yeah. So I was like, this is like, even if we don't ever do it, I'm like, I'm sharing this because this thing is cool. Yeah, and then I think we just want to use it as a place to like document our career changes, because I know you're like going through like a bunch of. You talked about your AWS interview last time? Yeah, and then I'm very much just getting started, and I'd be curious to see what that looks like.
For sure.
Through conversation in 6 months or something, see how we progressed. And anyway, just a place to have friends chat more. I mean, we do these anyway. That's what I was also going to say. Like, we do these streams anyway, where we just talk about random stuff. Might as well like put it in like a structured format. Who made the artwork? Fiverr. I paid this guy on Fiverr to do it. I think it was like 120. Ish USD, but I think it was worth it because he did a couple of revisions, and he was like super. It was quick, friendly, that kind of stuff. Oh, Alpha's here. Where? Oh my goodness! We want to know who I spoke to yesterday? Do you remember Chris?
Yeah.
I spoke to Chris I spoke to Chris on LinkedIn. He reached out just to like congrats on the new role. And then I talked to him like, what happened? Like, you disappeared. And he just said like he just went private, but he's enjoying life, being a cloud engineer and that kind of stuff. I was like, it's so interesting because he was like super like involved, and he was on Twitter and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but he's doing well. I guess I'd let you guys know that he's doing well.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah.
I think I saw something on LinkedIn that he posted recently. And
what's with all these AWS hats? Come on.
I don't know. I just realized that we have that.
Baby, can you pass me my Microsoft hat? No, I can't have this. I can't have it.
Yeah. I can.
Big fans of the concept. Alf, where you been? We haven't spoken in like what, 3 months or something?
I mean, we've spoken on and off, but yeah, unfortunately, at the stupid amount of stuff because I changed job too. So everyone's starting new jobs, new roles. So
what are you doing now?
I'm an analytics engineer, and so it's a lot of stuff, a lot of like fun things with AWS and Python related stuff, and some DevOps stuff as well. So I'm like working on DevOps stuff right now. So that's a lot of fun. And so like with the move to New York and been to Oregon, now I also have a puppy. So it's a whole lot of changes all of a sudden. And but now that I sign up for the freaking DevOps professional out of nowhere, I have to get back to like a structure.
I saw your streaming setup. Looks awesome. What kind of desk do you have?
I was hearing you said the Uplift desk. I have the Uplift desk too.
What size do you have?
I have the 80 by 30. Actually, let me actually get up myself so that you can see.
Man, I only got 72. Now I feel like you sunned me.
Yeah, no, it is the 80. I wanted the 80 because there is space. Two, I have like this whole 3 monitor situation. And so with the 3 monitor situation, honestly, it really made more sense to get a larger one, and I had the space for it. So
how do you have like all the 3 monitors lined up?
Yeah, I have.
horizontally?
I have one ultra wide, one 4K, and one vertical on a
Oh.
side. So the
Nice.
4K one is for my PS5 mods.
I see.
Do you have like the new Xbox controller behind you?
I don't know. I think that's the old one. I think it's a random because I just realized that the PS5 controllers actually work very well on PS5 on PC. So I just don't even use that one. So right now it's right there. That's my little bookshelf of wonders with a couple of things.
What kind of books you got?
I
You got some JavaScript in there. You got some C++.
I have a bunch of TypeScript stuff. I have some Linux stuff, and mostly it's like kind of self-help books, like non-fiction self-help books, kind of.
Nice. I like the panda who is riding a shark into the space.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I have this shirt on. Honestly, I just woke up because my life is blending a little bit now. I don't know when night ends and begins because my dog wakes me up at like 3, 4.
No, it's amazing artwork, to be honest.
Thanks.
What kind of microphone are you? Is it Shure? Is it the?
Yeah, I got the SM7B now.
Oh, like so it's a full-sized one, not the.
Yeah.
You went all in.
Wow, how much did you spend? Your setup is easy, like what, 7K? Probably
I have
more.
No idea.
What graphics card do you have?
1650. I literally have all this setup, and then there's a random 1650. I shared a meme a bunch of time ago on Reddit with like I have a Ryzen 3900X, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and then there is GTX 1650. I'm like, oh well, what can you do?
Fem says, "Congrats, Antonia. I really enjoyed that role. Good luck."
Thanks, appreciate that. It's fun so far. It's a lot of like talking a little bit more about interesting. It's a lot in support of like the data team and my company. My company's name is Health Union. It's a company that basically helps people that live with long-term medical conditions to find like communities, and so we run like a lot of communities and for people with different type of like health conditions, long-term health conditions, and a lot of what we do is all data ingestion and data manipulation and making sure that all the data that comes through our end is a little bit through us is ready for analysts to use. So we are a little bit between a data engineer and a data analyst, but we're not either of those. It's a weird position right now. It's a very fresh position. It's called the analytics engineer position. It's very interesting.
How do you like being in the data world? I think at one point you mentioned you want to sort of like shift it to more of like the cloud engineer.
Yeah. Like I feel like this role is good to me because it's data, but a lot of it is software for data. So it's a lot of software related stuff, but we are still in the domain of data. So I'm definitely more interested in DevOps stuff, which is why I'm doing DevOps stuff when I get the chance to work. But otherwise, my long-term thing is always being in like DevOps or cloud engineering. Now I do all of my work is in AWS at the new company, so thumbs up for that for me.
That's good exposure. Oh, we keep trying to get Michael on, but he's always busy. He just got a role at Michael Leando, right? He just joined AWS. Well, I guess not just, probably a month now, right?
Yeah,
around a month, I think.
He just joined, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are like getting roles now. I think I saw this tweet somewhere about like how hiring in the summer is just in tech is like insane.
It's because of after COVID and everyone is like starting to actually understanding their decision in terms of like, okay, now I really want like a remote job for me works best. Like I don't want to be in the office. So when there is not like a lot of, like when there's people that don't allow you to work from home or don't allow you to actually go back to only want you to go back to the office, people are looking for other positions. At that point now it's like there are so many other companies that want to give me that position. Why would I have to stick with that?
How do you guys feel about like are both of you working remote now?
I am
fully remote?
100% remote, even post-COVID. So even because my company is in Philadelphia, but I'm in New York. So
Yeah.
What about you, Rishab?
Same with our small office here in Kingston. They decided not to renew the lease, so you are full-time work from home.
Do you guys like remote? Fully remote?
I usually go in like 1 or 2 days a week, and just to see, like, I have 1 or 2 colleagues that come in, and we have decided on like a common day that we would come in and just like work from the office. But yeah, I think I find it like I save a lot of time, especially like in the mornings. There's a lot of traffic, even though it's a small city, so it takes time. And also like the commute is the main hassle here. But yeah,
do you
I
have
think
like a hot desk system, given that you don't have the lease anymore? Like, do you have to rent a kind of a desk time or like your time?
Yeah, the renewal is like up. It's early next year, so they have decided to like until then you can come in, but start moving stuff. Like if you need extra screens, take it home. But yeah, they'll be closing it down soon, so I want to like go in more often that I can and see my colleagues and teammates. But yeah, usually there is no one except me and 2 other people.
Yeah, I like the hybrid approach, but I realize that works for me because I don't have like kids and I'll be moving like pretty close to the office, so like commute's not going to be a massive problem. But I don't think I'd like going every single day. I guess it depends on like what's on the calendar for that day. But yeah, I would agree with a hybrid approach. Like that's like my like sweet spot. I miss people. Like, well, maybe not specific people, but I miss like interacting with people.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think like the company did a survey, so I think like they weren't expecting people vote for hybrid. So then now they're talking about going like downsizing the office. So maybe a smaller office, maybe in the near future, but we don't know. For now, they said, yeah, you can work from home. So
here's a comment for you, Rishab. Hope you
MS
go through your MS interview. I think. Do you have an MS interview that you're hiding from us?
Da da da.
No.
I think this might be.
I'm still
AWS?
recovering. Yeah, I'm still recovering from the rejection from AWS.
When was that? Last week or this week?
I think last week.
Okay.
What position was it for?
It was cloud developer in the professional services team.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like to Houston now.
No. We're moving to the actual nice city. No, I mean, honestly, I wish I could go to Houston. Like, I want to go to Texas. Honestly,
to move there?
Not move there, really.
Okay.
Like, I don't know either. Maybe I would have moved to Austin, probably, but I don't know if I would like to. I've never been to Texas yet. That's my thing. I've been to California. Most of the time, I've been to the opposite coast. I've been to California a lot of time, and I've been, like for quite a long time, and then I've been to the East Coast, like Pennsylvania, New York now for a long time. So I kind of wanted to experience the middle for a little bit.
Yeah. Someone says we're buffering. I don't know if that's them or if that's us. People in the chat, can you let us know if we're buffering? All right.
Yes.
I think there was like some comments that we missed. I don't want to like miss the important ones. Someone said Cloud Wars. We're not about that here. We know Azure is the best. Hold on. All right, here's a good one. The past 3 years I've switched jobs during the summer. Each time a recruiter has reached out first.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever worked with a recruiter like a recruiter has reached out to me. Like I've always have like eventually been connected to one. But I don't think I've ever had anyone ever reach out to me.
My current position was through the VP of people reached out to me via LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me too, the AWS thing just happened through a recruiter. So I don't know. Summer is kind of interesting.
I get like at least three mail a day on LinkedIn on recruiter. Yeah. At least
is that a feature or that you have to turn on or something? Because I've never gotten anything on LinkedIn.
I literally get 2 or 3 mail requests a day for a position, and like, oh, we're looking for Java developers. I don't know where Java is on my, like, I don't even know Java. I don't know why they're looking for like Java developers with like 6 years of experience or something.
Yeah.
At this point, they're just like sending it just for the sake of it.
I'm
pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what they do. Like, you get an email and the role is like senior level software engineer, 10 years experience. I'm like, I'm nowhere near that. But yeah.
Just lie. Sure, I'll interview. Here's one for you, AWS guys. We'd love a one-on-one conversation just to get more information and advice on AWS. I'm not your AWS person, but I'm sure these two would be more than happy to have a chat. Actually, I don't know. I'm offering your time, and then depends. Ask the questions in the chat. How about that? We could probably address a couple of them on stream. I've never had a LinkedIn profile yet. Somehow recruiters still find me even. We'll keep tabs. Oh, here's a good question. Polywork. I know you two have it.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll replace LinkedIn?
I think it has a very good like spot where it is like in terms of like this is not just a job thing and then you have to post stuff that people follow. It's actually a collection of smaller things that you've done that don't transpire from just showing that you worked somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's a wonderful thing. For example, it's literally the use case that we would like to have, for example, in the 100 Days of Cloud, where you share your journey day by day. And that's very good logic, because that's literally what it is built for. And also, I really like so far the fact that you can't like or comment on stuff because it doesn't. It makes you so that you don't have like
no influencers.
One is not influencers, and two, you don't have the pressure of like the numbers piling up and
algorithm.
And then something comes up, like something. You post something and no one gets a like, and maybe it's like, oh, no one likes this stuff, or no one like is looking at what I'm doing. You just post it for your own sake, and people can just follow your journey. I really like that.
But
and I heard that there was a breach, right? LinkedIn breach.
Oh, LinkedIn,
massive one.
Yeah, so I think it's the perfect time to move to Polywork.
Please. But what I was gonna say, like, the worst of LinkedIn is probably what's going to keep it alive, because as much as all of us here dislike I just passed this Udemy course kind of thing every 5 minutes, it's a lot of people do enjoy that, right? And
like
it's what's going to keep it.
LinkedIn has a little bit of this thing where which is like what Polywork is kind of trying to solve, that because Polywork is literally built to do that type of stuff. It's like, oh, today I finished a course and you can share about it. But LinkedIn is more about, hey, I shared look how cool I am, instead of like, hey, no one can actually answer this. You're just sharing basically for yourself and for keeping tabs on what you're doing. That's at least how I see Polywork going, compared to actually taking it for saying, oh, I'm passing this. Look at me, how cool I am. Give me likes so that I feel validated.
Well, a timeline, that's what it's called, a timeline, where you can see like everyone's what they've posted and like you can like. Yeah, the liking and the reactions is what ruins eventually everything.
Yeah. It's because then you start driving your content just to get the reaction,
more engagement,
instead of actually. And so
has security issues over the years. Does Poly feel more secure, or do you think they will be safe? Do you think they'll be safe for free information? I don't know. Maybe I think if it's safer, it's probably because it's smaller, not as popular. I mean, LinkedIn is just such a massive target, right? Like, there's so many accounts there, and there's the history of it already being sort of because attacked previously. Like, so, like, of course.
I also don't remember what kind of information Polywork takes when you register. because LinkedIn has everything, like where you work, your phone number, your email, your
salary. Yeah. Where you live, like your area. Is GPS allowed to criticize? I'm not criticizing. I'm giving a honest opinion. I think LinkedIn as a platform is pretty solid. What makes on like any social media, what makes it bad is the people and the stuff that gets posted on there, right? What was it called? Oh, Polywork.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone just typed that in. Hold on, let's get through these Polyworks and any cool. I'm trying to look at the ones that have to do with this here. All right, I guess we can move on. I think they're an online course, and then you can take the test. I don't know what this is referring to. Anyway, any cool Azure project ideas? Rishab has some.
Oh yeah.
Alf has some too.
Probably, yeah. It's not really Azure related, but you can apply to everything, like cloud related. If you can, like one project is like easy project is like create a repository, and do a whole, like it depends like on what field of cloud you want to do. Now I'm preparing for the DevOps Pro, so one of the projects was the CI/CD pipeline. So it's like taking a code base that needs building and testing, taking on code commit, in my case on AWS or GitHub or whatever you want, put it in a repository, create a pipeline that builds the code, tests it, and deploy it on a server. Like it sounds simple, but getting the steps to work properly so that whenever you commit to a specific branch, not every single commit that you make, every time you actually close a pull request on a repository, and it automatically builds, tests your code, and if the test passes, they deploy it on a server or on a container or whatever you want. But if you actually make the entire pipeline work, even simple enough, it's actually a pretty surprisingly complicated like more than
it's a real world.
It's a real world thing. Like if you can, like my job, like all our repositories push to an AWS code pipeline that builds a Docker container at the end and pushes it to ECR and then deploys it on Fargate. And it seems like easy, but it's not.
Yeah, and it's like, it'll be really good to have on your resume because, I think it's true for like every bigger or even smaller companies nowadays is they have pipelines. There are builds that test the code and then you push it to production, and that prevents major outages. But yeah, no, that does sound really interesting.
Rishab and I wanted to work on like this social Pomodoro kind of thing. Now that I'm thinking it, we could do like you sort of create your room and then you give people your code and they access, and then your Pomodoro and your sessions run as often as the room exists, and then later you can have like some sort of record or user account that shows your history of whatever. We just need to like actually plan it out. I know Caroline had an interesting project. I don't know if she wants to talk about it or she wants us to talk about it, but she
for sure
was mentioning it earlier today. How much do you guys make at AWS? None of us work at AWS, so we can't answer that question. They are AWS community builder. I am too, actually. Now that I can't believe I got accepted into that, but technically I am too. I just don't have a hat. Okay, so Caroline said to go ahead. She is building this like cloud project generator, and it'll like give you like a challenge to do, and it'll like provide resources, and I think she said like diagrams and stuff like that. And hold on, let me see if I can pull up because I know she mentioned it. So there's a login. So generate a challenge for themselves, random cloud provider, technology, programming language, difficulty, etc. And once they are done, they can provide links, blog posts, videos, and they can be featured on the random challenges page where people can upload their projects. That's what she is looking to build. Sounds like a pretty awesome project. I think anything that has coming up with a project idea is like, of course, important, but when it comes to like cloud, like cloud engineer, DevOps engineer, like the real like learning you're gonna get is understanding how you connect these things. Like you mentioned, like the pipelines.
Yeah.
Like if you can get those to run smooth, the CI/CD pipeline and that kind of stuff, you're golden. But it's like it's also like so many of the projects that you find online, especially like on tech Twitter, are all focused on like build this really nice looking thing or like the front end and that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, okay, but our focus is more towards like how do we make this like work too. It like what you actually build may or may not. That's why the Cloud Resume project is like fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone has a resume.
Yeah, and everyone would
needs
need
a resume. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Rishab, I thought your tweet on June 22nd was regarding job at MS. Rishab, what did you tweet?
I tweeted that I might have bombed my FANG interview.
That was AWS.
Yep.
MS isn't FANG. I don't understand why. Why not?
I think FANG now refers to like every big multi-billion-dollar company or tech company. Like if you see Tesla is not part of it, Twitter is not part of FANG, but they still count as FANG. I don't know. But yeah.
All right. Is it close to release? Would love some cloud projects. I don't think so. I think Caroline. I don't know. Caroline has like told us about it, but don't know what like status it's in. If I had more time, because I have like I was like telling you, Rishab, like I have so many side projects like I can't keep up. If I had more time, I'd love to work on it more. There's like plenty of like content that we could build around it too. They have lots. We have the self-taught cloud guy that has a couple of projects, but not all specific to cloud.
Yeah, I think someone asked in the beginning, like they want to get into cloud, but they don't know where to start. So yeah, we'll link it down. It's a really great way to start learning cloud. Did you type it in the chat so I can just put it on? I should probably get a domain for it, just like instead of it being like the GitHub one. But anyway, is cloud engineering difficult to learn if you don't have any programming language? So this also loops into like that guide that we build. So you sort of have your fundamentals. So like Linux networking, some code experience, and then cloud platform and then DevOps practices is cloud engineering essentially. Though like programming isn't like, you're not going to program like a front-end engineer or back-end engineer. You're going to use it to automate your things and your tasks. Though you could click around in the portal, I don't think like it's expected of you to know how to manipulate your cloud infrastructure through code. So you're going to need to know it. You could learn without it, but there's no. You can't get away with it not like having programming.
Like at a certain point, it will come back to bite you. You can start without it, but at a certain point, there are things that are going to be easier to do it if you know programming languages. And overall, like all cloud is around software anyways, and at least 95% of everything in the cloud is related to software. Maybe there are some things like, I don't know, Amazon Chime, for example, that is AWS, but it's like a Zoom clone basically, and that is not specifically like a software related thing, but it's still like if you want to be a cloud engineer, it's all about software. So if you don't know even basic programming, a lot of like DevOps engineer maybe are not like expert programmers, but they are expert at like systems like or Linux working and similar. So eventually will come and bite you if you don't. So it's better to start. It's always easier than you think it is.
Here's a good one. Is it also really important? It's also really important to find a company that shares the same value system and prioritizes development. What do you mean by value system and prioritizes development?
Think
that's
prioritize development would be, it could be personal development.
Yeah, personal development, professional career, or development of actual like development. Caroline says, I just came up with the idea today. I built it. All right. So she's got the domain. It's good. It's always a first step. I'm just kidding, Caroline. We know you're going to get it done. goodness, get a lot of. I have almost a year experience in Python and basic understanding of Java. Hope I'm good to go with cloud. Yeah, now so if you have experience with Python, you should be somewhat familiar with like a command line, like a terminal-ish. So yeah, again, that guide will show you what we kind of. Alf, have you seen that?
Yeah,
we should have totally asked you to like contribute to it.
I can add anything. I can PR something.
Yeah, probably around the DevOps area, because I know that's like my weakest point. And Rishab did help there a little, but
yeah.
But anyway,
definitely need more.
In TechU, in my opinion, you like there is not like a point where you're not good to go with cloud, because I can give you an example. Like there are a lot of people in companies that are like selling. On the sales side, so they're not like what would you call technical, which is not a nice term, because it's not like they are technical in their own things. It's not technical in the technology sense. Like they're not highly, like they're not programming people, but they take the cloud and practitioner, for example, or they take the AZ900. It's more of a general thing that lets you know about cloud, about what is possible to do with cloud, and then they use it in their sales with clients where they actually have to sell the software that their company makes. Maybe they're not the programmers, but they are aware of the cloud and what it does. You don't need to know how to program to be around in the cloud. Eventually, if you want to be proficient in cloud, programming will need to be there because it's part of the cloud. Again, it's software and similar, so it's part of it. But otherwise, there is not like a point where you say, oh, I have to do this, this, and this, and this before I can even start the cloud. You can start it. You can do things at your own pace so that you understand where are your weaknesses and where you can work on, and then just gradually build to it. There is not a point where you're like, okay, I did the checklist, and now that everything is checked, I'm ready for cloud. You can start today.
Yeah, I think the difference is like, yeah, you can start learning at any point, but at like what point do you have the skills to get hired? And I think it's like very little places will like hire you if you don't know how to like use like the CLI to interact with whatever environment. And there's a difference between scripting and programming. That's always why I recommend like scripting. You're almost there to like having a fundamental understanding of programming. Might as well go the extra mile, and then if you do gain that knowledge, you have access to things like your serverless things that are like super popular and like great for automating like small tasks and actually like production size kind of things, right? But the Alpha's totally correct with like you can learn starting right now. Like you don't need any like prereqs. That's a good thing. Well, this is a popular topic. Depends on the size of the cloud infrastructure. Really, for smaller cloud companies, you can get away without programming until the company outgrows your skills.
I feel like it might be opposite. Like I feel like when you are in a smaller company, you wear multiple hats, and you have to be. If you're a DevOps engineer to a degree, you also do like some help with testing, or like maybe if there is a PR, you get to review stuff. So I know a friend of mine that is like a backend engineer, but then he works a lot on like Kubernetes infrastructure that technically is more related to a DevOps position more than the backend engineer itself. So he does a lot of this, and it's a small company, and it's a like startup that is like in stealth mode and doing all this stuff. So he wears a lot of hats. When actually the company starts hiring for very specific position, then you can actually be like, if you're an infrastructure engineer, you don't need to do programming necessarily if you're like a Terraform expert, because they won't ask you to do the job that they have like a whole team that is already doing. So they won't ask you to do programming if you're a DevOps hired as a DevOps or a system engineer, for example. So I think it's actually the opposite way. The company, if it's large enough, you don't have to know it, but you have to be very good at one thing, because there's so many other people that do the rest.
Yeah, I experienced the totally opposite, and I would agree with Carolyn. Like in my case, like our company was way smaller that it is now, and I think we got like 30 people in the entire company. And yeah, they just took a chance with me, and I started in cloud, and I didn't touch any languages until like a year after in the cloud role. When I was like I was included in some PRs just to like upskill myself. So yeah, it was easy to start that way. But I don't know, like I think I also agree with Alf's point. Like it totally depends on company to company too, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it depends on infrastructure size. I think
No.
it's just this company to company really, and team to team.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. Do all three of you know both Azure and AWS? Do you think it's essential to learn both long term?
I have almost never touched anything Azure. I'm gonna say like almost. I have done something in GCP because my previous company was GCP based, but I've never like Azure has been one of that I never really touched. So for me, it's like opposite. For example, I wouldn't suggest you to learn very much GCP because again, GCP is a pretty complex like it's a pretty in a weird space in my opinion where there is like the interest in being there but there is not the support behind it. So like if you actually try to learn GCP there is nowhere near enough documentation as like Azure or AWS. But what I say all the time is not about the provider because all providers offer same services basically. It's always about the concept behind the cloud infrastructures. So if you learn what a load balancer is, what a server is, what a infrastructure
Subnets,
code is, subnets, VPCs, they're all the same, like serverless. They're all the same. It's just a different implementation. Then you decide where to focus based on where are you looking to work primarily.
Following up on that, we were asking what did this person mean by development? It's support employees on their professional goals, ongoing learning opportunities, mentoring. I think that is like a very personal decision. I mean, if it's important to someone like early on in a career, later on in a career, that's completely up to them. I know personally it's very important. It was for the last couple of years, but like when I was getting started, I just wanted a job. Like I could care less if you were going to care about me because I knew I was going to figure that out for myself. I knew that I was going to take the salary that I was going to make and, you know, use that on my off hours to further my own like education and stuff like that. It's great when, you know, companies do provide like, I don't know, money for certifications or resources and things like that. And I think like in tech, it's so essential to like support upskilling of your own like team. But I never like, wait on them. Yeah. I mean, I never waited on anyone to like push me forward really. Cause I knew I just wasn't going to stay back. But I mean, I think it should be like a given in like tech roles, like because like things change so fast. It's like you should have some sort of subscription to something for your employees or something like that, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, all of my employers so far have offered like pluralsight access, which is the most. I guess it's the more corporate of the training platforms.
They own everything now.
Yeah, I know. Now they have everything. So maybe I will actually get also a cloud guru, and along with that would be neat, actually. But yeah, like they do that. There is like, for example, in my new company, there is a yearly budget where you can buy things like books or conference tickets or software that is something that helps you in the position you're doing. So that's there is a budget for everyone at the company. So but the thing is that I know that I didn't choose a company because that was the key thing. I chose more because I discussed with hiring like with my manager, with the CTO and similar. I saw that they were interested in moving technology forward at the company, and I felt like it was a right spot for me to be at the time. So that's where I decided, and it's like this goes back to shared values that is more important than like the
other
growth
folks.
Similar. But also again like GPS said is like literally at the beginning of your career is like I gotta take the job. Like for me was I gotta take my job because I have a visa. It's expired. That's
alongside of that development. How many hours / days did you study? For what though? Or
on a
It's
daily
like
basis.
we are
to what?
always studying. I don't.
Yeah, I literally don't stop.
Yeah.
Daily, I would say probably spend like I try to at least get maybe like 2 hours ish on whatever it is that I'm trying to get better at. Like it's currently Blazor, but I think
Mhm.
in like a month or so it's going to shift to something else. But I don't understand like did you study towards like is this towards something maybe like for specific certification? I don't know. But you both of you are always like passing exams and stuff like that.
Yeah, when I prepared for my certification, like my first 3 certification, I did the 3 certification in like a month and a half, basically.
Jeez, which ones?
Is cloud practitioner, solution architect, and developer. I did them like back to back, basically. And I was not at the point I was not working, which is like actually important to say. And I was studying something like 5 to 6 hours per day because I was not working. Once I started working and I started to prepare other things, I tried to take like around an hour and a half to review something, to just like tinker with stuff. And maybe during the weekends, if I have time. But like a lot of the time, especially recently, there's been like this big shift in my life where we moved, changed job, got a puppy, got so many things happened. So it's really hard to maintain that. Like there's not like a goal that I set myself every single day. But as long as I have like a goal in mind, a set goal that I want to achieve, then I try to put enough effort in there. It doesn't really come to hours of study. It comes to understanding the topic, and it takes a variable amount of time.
Yep.
Let's see here. For operations engineer with Windows background, will I be better learning off Azure? What do you mean by will I be better off? I think a lot of your skills might translate over and it might be easier for you to pick up, but I don't know what you define as better off. So,
and just from the question itself, I think you'll be fine in any 3 clouds because Windows is used anyways.
You
and
can
it totally
spin up
depends.
servers with Windows on AWS without any problem.
Yep.
Because I'm trying to look at some of these are like 2 parts, and I'm like, what is going on? Here's one that A Cloud Guru or Coursera or Udemy.
I use Udemy a lot. I use Udemy a lot because it's more targeted in terms of like I know which people I like to follow specifically, so I purchase their courses. One, because I like to support the creators that I do like, and also it's the fact that I have to pay for the course specifically makes me actually want to do it, which is different than paying like $50 for like a subscription and then having so much choice, then it's harder to actually start somewhere. So that's why for me, I'm more on the Udemy side, but Udemy is also a problem because you never know what the quality comes. So that's why I stick to very specific, either highly rated, like very highly rated, or people that I already know, and they just offer the courses via Udemy.
Yeah, YouTube over all 3 of them.
Yeah, I use Udemy especially for AWS, for Stefan Marek, I think his name is. His courses are really good, but then
that guy's a beast.
Yeah,
it's really good content.
Yep. But yeah, other than that, as Alf said, we do get some perks from our employers, and our company decided to go with a cloud guru, so I have that.
Do any of you have stories on getting a salary increases? I do, but if you guys want to talk about it.
Sure.
I feel like that's quite insightful. Rishab, go.
Yeah, I always wanted to write this article, and I promised Twitter.
Do it. Now you got to do it.
Yeah.
Just cut this clip out of the video and just share it.
Yeah. Use Azure AI services to like transcribe and put it as an article.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. I think this was 2020, and GPS was well aware about the process. I started doing certifications, as Al said. 2020 was a rough year because we were all stuck at home. I had a lot of ample of time with me after working, so I decided to dig into certifications again. And before this, I only had like cloud practitioner. And like Helps did, I went for like all 3 associates. I think it took 2 months, 60, something like that.
Wait, all 3 associates?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one I took 30 days, and then there's a lot of overlap. So I decided to do the next one in like 20 days. And then the last was sysops, and I did like that in 10 days because a lot of the content is like it's overlapped in all these 3 certifications. And it's nice this way because you don't have to come back and do another cert and revise for AWS. And then I started moving to Azure, and someone like same thing. I think it was after summer. A recruiter reached out. It was a big enterprise, not FANG, and I'm like, okay, I'll interview. And I've been working at the same company for the last almost 4 years now. So I'm like, okay, this could be a good change. And the role was senior cloud engineer. So I'm like, yeah, this definitely seems interesting. I think I had like 4 rounds of interviews, and took me almost a month. And I finally received the offer. I gave in my 2 weeks notice. And that's when like things started. And
I remember this now.
Yeah.
I remember this.
My employer was like, oh, why all of a sudden like you want to leave? I'm like, I got a better opportunity. It's in a bigger town, and I would like to go there. They were like, oh, could we like discuss the new opportunity? So I didn't feel comfortable, but then eventually I decided to discuss it like after 2-3 days, and I told them this is the role. It's more senior. These are the responsibilities. This is the perks. And then they were like, oh, should we talk money? And I'm like, okay. And I told them,
Of course.
yeah. Thing is, I live in a really small town right now, so like I can't expect the salary to be same in what this new enterprise was offering. But yeah, somehow they matched it, so I got a 40% raise.
40?
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yep. And yeah, I think I was worth that raise. It's just that the town was small, and I started as an intern in this company, which I'm still working at, and I was in support. So when you move to cloud, and the reason why I was hired is because I already knew the product initially, and also like I did support, so I could like do some support things and also understand how like our product worked with cloud. In regard, like if I compare to someone, if they would have like hired somebody else who was not in the company before, but then they only like decided to give me like 10% raise from moving from like a help desk role to my first cloud role. Whereas if they hired someone off the market, they would have to like pay, I don't know.
Yeah, full salary.
Yeah. So I haven't got a raise since then until like I was offered a different job, and my employer decided to give me a raise and make me stay, and I stayed.
Approaching it, having an offer. I think Michael was talking about this like a couple of streams ago too. He said like, oh yeah, I approached him telling him I was leaving, had another offer, and they matched that offer. That's definitely like, I guess one way you could take it. I think that's kind of scary too, because what if they like, if you want to use it for just to get a raise, and what if they're like no, and they're like crap, now I gotta leave.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
And that was not like, I know, or I was talking to you, that was not my intention, or intention to get a raise.
I remember, yeah, you were set to like leave.
Set,
yeah.
And I already looked at apartments and like stuff in the new city and where we were gonna live and stuff like that. And especially with my fiance, she also started looking at jobs because we were moving in a month. And then like all of a sudden, like my employer and it was not a match. Like I would have said, okay, you are matching it, but there were some perks at the new company that like still were like, they were ready to pay for my tuition if I wanted to do bachelor's. And tuition is a lot here. So I was like, that's like $3,000, $4,000 a year. They were like, okay, we can give you that in cash as your salary. I'm like, fine. So yeah, I took it. I'm like, okay, I'll stay.
That's so similar. It's not like similar in the sense that I didn't actually stay, like, because the thing is that for me, like, I changed the job and I got like something like a 35 38% or something like that increase in salary by just switching job. But the thing is that I also mentioned to my previous team that I didn't want to even discuss it specifically, because it was just like a different job. Like one, I was working as a data analyst, and now I actually got the opportunity to join an engineering team, and so it was like a completely different. It wasn't like an horizontal change. It was like a completely changing, specifically field. So I didn't want to. For me, it was more important not only the pay bump, but was also the fact that I was working on things that I prepared for, because I felt like I wasn't utilized in a certain way, or at least the things that I was doing were not like the things that I felt were more representative of my skill set. So for me, that was the experience, and I did the contract on the offer specific as well. Like the one that they gave me an offer, I contracted with them to get a better deal, primarily because of living in New York City versus Philadelphia. But otherwise, it was like that was my experience in experiencing this like pay bump type of thing.
Yeah, I've only had.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I've only had one raise, like from sysadmin to junior cloud engineer. I think it was like a 50K making at the sysadmin gig, and then I think it was maybe like 78 in the junior cloud. So it's like that's the only jump I've had, like internally. But I think the other ones were all just like moving, like help desk, like retail to help desk sysadmin, and then there's that pay bump, and then sysadmin to like the other ones. Like leaving companies, that's really the only experience I've had, like increasing. And that sysadmin to like junior cloud engineer, it was just like I had like I think 2 solid projects that I could present to them, like, hey, I've saved you money and time because of these. I deserve a raise, and then it turned into like a promotion, so that worked out.
Nice. Yeah, I think that was what was recommended to me, because like I was working at this, I don't know how to put it, but like a really less end of the salary range for a cloud job. And what I was recommended is switching companies would like get you the most raise if you're looking at it from a financial point of view.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it ended up working in my favor. And
by the way, Steve Obia, that's not my Instagram. Like it's my it's my Twitter. I don't use it. Like, yeah, I'm on Instagram, but I don't use it. So
it's a bachelor's in CS worth doing, because seeing you guys, I'm having second thoughts. All right, to be fair here, you have Alf, you have a bachelor's, right?
In marketing.
Okay, and Rishab's, you have an associate's, so like a 2-year thing, 2-year program.
Yeah, a diploma.
Yeah, so sort of like associate's kind of level, but not a bachelor's. All right, so we might not be the best people to give an opinion on this, given that none of us have like degrees in CS. And education is such like a personal thing. Like giving advice is so hard.
It is.
The bachelor opens your first door, but doesn't open anything else. That's the thing. If you have a bachelor degree that you have like you get experience, like it's easier to get an internship at already like a software engineer type of experience if you're in a bachelor, compared to if you didn't have a bachelor. At the point you would have to do something like I don't know, a coding bootcamp or similar. Or there are, again, I think we have said this a lot of times throughout like a lot of streams, that is like I like the help desk positions are open to, like it's an easy. No, it's not an easy way. Like it's a step in the door in the right direction, because actually you have so much exposure to everything in a company from an IT help desk position, and you also have the side to like the opportunity to work on a side on what you want to specialize among all the things that you come in contact with. And a lot of people, like, I feel like they put it down, the position of help desk, because it's like, oh, it's help desk, like blah blah blah. Like, no, help desk is actually like all of the things that go through a company like are supported by the help desk folks in like most major companies, and it's not like you're not asking for whenever something breaks or something goes pretty like doesn't work the way you anticipated. Usually you don't ask a software engineer, you ask like help desk people.
So, and I think like the amount of skills you learn in a help desk position is like you wear so many hats. I remember my time, like, I know like how phones work and like how printers get fixed.
Printers! Oh my goodness!
I can change a cartridge without spilling ink, so I think that's a pretty good skill.
I remember dealing with like Rishab and I both started at help desk, and we were talking. I think we were talking about those the Ricoh printers or Ricoh. I don't know how to pronounce it. Those the massive tubes of toner. I remember at the beginning when they were training me. They probably trained me for like a week, and then the person that they had was like a third party. So they were there only for once or twice a week. So when I was new and I had to change because they run out all the time or they're like not installed correctly and like the users would install them. So I would have to go fix them. And I'd get like toner all over me. It's so easy to get it on you.
It is.
I the stupid gray plastic bottles. I still remember them. Help this. Yeah, but I would agree. We all share the passion for like that role where it's like it can expose you to a lot. I think Rodney here says something good. In your time in IT, I don't know, when you started in IT, did you ever ask if you could part-time help with your interests? I'm curious if your grocery store would let me kind of moonlight. I don't think it was like to an extent of part-time, but it was more like, hey, if I finish all my work for the week or whatever, can I get like an hour to shadow someone or like, you know, maybe just have like, could you let me like watch a meeting or, you know, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't necessarily say that's like a part-time thing. And it's definitely case by case, right?
Yeah, I had the same experience. Like I was allowed to sit in the meetings. And this is when I was in my help desk role with the cloud team. And also like on Fridays, I was allowed to shadow anyone. It could be a software engineer or it could be a cloud. But at the time, the company was only like 30 people. So they were like pretty flexible and they wanted people to grow. But yeah, no, I don't think it's a part-time thing. But yeah, if your employer is like good and like supporting you in your professional development,
Did you ever have to install phones where like I feel like with phones we're always like set up in just like these tight corners, and whenever you would have to like run the jack to the back of it and you had to like pry them off the wall, I would always break the little hook off like that has like the wall mount, and it would suck because then I would have to like go and find the maintenance person to fix that and then install the phone again, and then if I would put the phone on the mount without plugging the cable in, I'd have to do it all over again.
I had this experience. I had this project, and this was in my internship, and they were trying to teach me like how maps and how you can use like those tools on like network maps. And this guy's like, "Oh, could you go down on like in each room and see like which is the data port and which is the phone port?" So we used to have like 2 Ethernet ports. One would be phone, one would be data. And I had this huge ass blueprint of rooms, and I had to mark and like name tag or whatever, use numbers to tag them. So I would go into every room, like go under their desk, and people used to be working. So
I remember that too. And some people wouldn't want to move. I remember.
And our office is like a dog-friendly place, so people would have dogs under their table, and I'm like, I'm scared.
Remember like so they would also like you would have to like plug into like the jack and they would be numbered, but sometimes they would be numbered incorrectly, so you'd have to like trace it going up into the network room. And then the building that I worked at, it was like 4 floors, so the network room was all the way top, no elevator. I would go up and down and it was just me, so I would have to test it. Oh my goodness, what is that brand of phones that is like super popular that every office has? I can't remember.
No,
another name.
Oh man, it's from M. It's from M. Something from M.
It's escaping me. Chloe. Hi, Chloe. I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with Chloe Cloud Advocate. Microsoft. No, different one. No. There's another one. There's another name. This is I got this hat on Etsy.
Motorola.
It's from the 90s, apparently. But I was wearing a different hat, and then these two decided to wear AWS hats. So I got to represent. Polycom, yes.
Polycom.
I was thinking Polywork, yes, but Polycom, yes, that's the one. I think we didn't miss any. Oh, here. Doing bachelor's when I finish, I'll have an edge over the guy who did a boot camp. Oh man, I don't know.
I feel like the thing is that a bachelor degree is not like a CS degree is great for getting all the computer science stuff, but computer science and development is kind of like they're kind of different. Like I feel like all of the people I know that got out straight out of computer science, either they went in like enterprise, like Java enterprise programming, and it's a job that is like I wouldn't want to do specifically, or they actually did projects on the side during their bachelor and learned web development and stuff, and then got a job based on those things. A bootcamp bootcamps are much more in line with what the industry requires. So it's not that you have an edge in a different way. Like you have more of a technical background, like a theoretical, like more academic background, which may help you get into certain jobs. But I don't think there is a matter of like hedges or something. I feel it's more about how much did you apply things that are relevant to the company. So you have to just apply to different companies.
Yeah, and I think you're like more flexible in applying jobs, whereas a bootcamp grad, if you did like a front-end dev bootcamp, they're only able to apply to like web developer jobs. But yeah, it comes down to your own interest and what did you do on the side or like your side projects during that CS degree that would like, and I think you should explore like different areas of software engineering in general.
I wonder when we're going to start seeing degrees like cloud computing degrees, like specific to cloud computing.
There is one so far.
Where?
Western Governors University.
Yeah.
Oh, WGU. Yeah. Shout out to them.
I think there's another one coming along the way. I heard something like people are working, and it's like an online university, but it will be like bachelor's in something cloud computing. I don't know.
Let's make our own university.
Yeah,
and
for profit.
Brugu, I don't think I think Caroline is like correct in saying like gives you a conceptual edge, but not the technical one, because as I said, like modern, like if you think about like what, like you go out and you say, I want to be a back-end engineer, like a front-end engineer, like at Facebook or something. When you go to a CS degree, you don't learn React. For example, you don't learn JavaScript really. Like there is maybe one class on web development, but they use like jQuery or something because the university take a longer time to be in line with what the industry requires, and most of the corpus of knowledge in a CS degree is like assembly, larger languages, like software architecture. So you are a more well-rounded like technical person, but not necessarily like on the conceptual level, not necessarily on the skills that like an entry-level position requires. Like maybe if you never learned, for example, React or Vue, out of a CS degree, it's hard that you get a web developer job, for example. It might be more complicated. Probably you will get into these like type of Java enterprise positions because all of CS degrees use Java, for example. So that's going to be more likely, but that's a different type of programming job compared to like web development or full stack development that that boot camps prepare you for. And I'm not like rooting for either of them. Like I'm not like I don't have any. I'm not like invested or anything. I'm just saying I just saw the different experiences from people. Like for example, I have a friend that went through the whole CS. The same friend that I said before that was working in backend and doing Kubernetes and stuff in the small startup. He started his company he started his career in a bank, like in bank software, and it was all Java and stuff related to Java. And that's because he went to undergrad in CS CS, got a job in Java Enterprise. Then he moved slowly out of that into like web positions, backend development. Well, I have another friend that was a microbiology major in undergrad, went to a boot camp after finishing like a couple of years, and now she works as a web front-end developer, no, full stack developer actually in another startup. So it's a different path again, and neither is inherently better than the other one.
Yeah.
I think people get the idea that since like we're like not, we don't have CS degrees, that it kind of, well, I will speak for myself. Like people ask me like, what do you think about school? And they have the opinion that I am anti-degree just because I got it, like was able to get into it without one. But I couldn't be like, I can't have an opinion on something I haven't done, right?
Exactly.
I do wish education was a little bit more accessible here, specifically in the US, but I have like nothing against it, of course. I've considered, I think I said this on the last stream, I've considered going back, and I think it's something I would look into, actually finishing my CS degree sometime like next year, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, just because we like didn't go through that, we're not like anti like any path. Like any path that works for you is a great path, right?
For sure.
A degree gives you a salary edge, definitely.
Oh yeah, you can
starting off, probably, and then I think as
long-term.
you keep going long term, I think it's all the experience and people you know. One thing that college does give you, I think, especially being like fresh out of high school, is the opportunity to network with people. I think that's like a huge benefit, especially, I mean, maybe not now because everything's like online, but because of the pandemic, like, but when that like class like that resumes, like actual on campus, I think that's always going to be a benefit.
Yeah, and I think to Al's point, like internships are also good.
Yeah, because a lot of schools have connections with like companies that like,
it's like recruiter events on campus, events on like the fact that you're in an environment where companies actively recruit out of. It's a benefit. Like you were when like one thing I said when a lot of times is like when you pay for a school, you're not paying only for classes. Like a lot of people, you're like think that only thing you're doing, you're paying for classes, but you're paying for an entire system where you have connections. Then you're paying for like say you're paying for the gym. Like you when you're paying for like maybe you don't go to the gym, but like among the costs of your tuition is like the fact that you have the possibility of going to the gym, like library, opportunity to network with the recruiters at the events that the school offers, spaces where you can meet other people. Like you're paying a lot of things, not only the fact that you're sitting in a class and taking an exam.
And that's how I started basically, is when I did my 2 years program, it was mandatory to do a 2-year or 2-month internship. And we had, like Al said, we had a huge event where employers came in. That's how I got my internship. I'm still there.
We also forget that, like Rodney says, you can make a lot of money in tech without any sort of degree. There are also a lot of roles that don't require like coding, programming, those kind of skills that are in tech. I think I saw this tweet on tech Twitter the other day where it's like, you know, there's always someone each week. They're like, you need a degree, you need to learn how to code to be in tech. Like, you know, product managers, program managers, those things, those aren't tech jobs, which I think is BS because they are the roles. But yeah, let's not forget that, hey, tech is a lot more than just like programming, right? Most companies give support to their freshers.
Support jobs, yeah. So like help desk.
Oh, support jobs.
So I feel like I was laughing because Brugus Brugus comment, Caroline, did you do a degree or you are like them?
Wait, where is that? I lost that.
A little bit up.
Did you do degree? You're like, yeah. See, and that we laugh at that, but like stuff like if you go on tech and you say something like that, you'll get people get upset. Yeah. It's like, what do you mean like them?
Yeah, no, people like would actually. There are some people in tech Twitter that would actually think like them, as in negative. Is like, oh, these people that you're not real programmer, you didn't do CS, or like all the gatekeeping that you can do. Like, don't really fall. Like the thing is that in tech is one of the few fields where if you know how to do things, it's easy to show that. Like if you can build if you can that's why cloud projects and like labs and stuff. Oh no, like we're laughing. It's no, it's funny. Like I'm not like it's just
we're not
funny
like them.
and we're not like them. Yeah. And yeah, so like cloud projects are great because there are actual the projects that you can deploy pretty easily and show it to other people, and people can see that you know how to do that because you built that thing and you're showing it out. So like it's hard to do that in other fields, really. Like if you're in finance, it's not that I can start my own portfolio and show how well I'm doing, because I can do my own portfolio, and but like it doesn't apply. And French, I mean, I'm Italian, so we are inherently enemies. I'm joking.
Yeah, and I think it's not only just education. Like I've done my fair share of like retail jobs, and I used to work as a pizza driver, or like a pizza delivery guy, and I also worked in a gas station. Like those things, yeah, those things teach you too. And one of the things that I like really rocked in my cloud like job interview was how I explained the scalability and load balancing concept that I was asked. Is we used to have 2 registers where people could cash out, and I used it as an example. Like one of them would be shut down during the night because you don't need it, right? And the nights were they were not busy. But as soon as like 9 a.m. would hit, like the gas station would get busy, and now you have to open both the registers. So you're kind of scalable. And also, how would you load balance? So we would have a queue. So one would, like, the first one who gets the register that gets idle would come to us. So yeah, I'm just making
It's interesting where you can pull experiences from, and also the skill set of interviewing. You and I stress this so much, but like being able to interview and speak confidently of whatever skill set you have, and not like come off as like, oh, you're just bullshitting here, right? Like that goes a really long way as well, right? If you, right, you could spend your time studying and building, but if you can't speak to it at an interview over a phone call, if you're stuttering, if you're like you don't know what to say, that's not, those are going to like take some points off of it, right? No matter like what skill set you have, right? Unless you have like a super prestigious resume, but then if you did, you probably wouldn't have like issues finding a job. So this probably doesn't apply to you. But yeah, like just like you and I were talking about like, oh, maybe at some point we could do like mock interviews, but then we were like, oh, but that's probably like very time consuming. But yeah, like people need to like practice that more. I think that matters too. And just because you're not in a technical role does not mean that there's not something that you could learn that you could apply to at some point. Right?
Definitely.
Like think like for me, like retail, apply like working in retail, like at an Apple store, and eventually I could apply like being under pressure, being like customer facing. I applied a bunch of those experiences to landing a help desk role, and a lot of stuff that I learned at the help desk role for the sysadmin, and then moving up forward, right?
Yeah, and I think in retail, like you learn how to deal with angry people, and you get like a lot of patience. But yeah, there are definitely skills that you can learn like in different jobs that are not in tech.
If you practice anything long enough, you'll get good at it, even BS. Yeah, 100%. Look at me. Like I BS'd my way into this job. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm qualified. How do you find companies for first job? I'm bachelor's almost over. I need to apply. So, what's that one? Indeed. I used Indeed a lot.
Yeah.
I never got anything out of Indeed, really.
Really?
But, like
I used Indeed a lot.
I never really got anything. Like my goal, okay, this is my 2 cents as someone who literally started an organization for career development in during my graduate degree. Is like the networking is a pain in the ass, but it's like a pain in the ass that you have to take. And the ability to make strike conversations that are not only on like I need something from you. Instead, it's like I want to learn something from you because your career path is similar to the career path I want to go for is gonna bring you very far. Like, because it's like when you network, and networking is never like, I need this from you, then I give you this back. It's always about sharing and learning and creating connections, and those connections don't necessarily have to bring you something, but slowly they bring credibility to your name, basically. And so when you are trying to find a position, the way you like my first job, the way I got it was it was one random day that one professor reached out to me that I never took a class with, reached out to me saying, I was like, some of your classmates suggested me for this position, would you like to take it, to interview for this? And I'm like, okay, I don't know you, but like, thank you. Okay. And the reason is because during my classes, for example, in that case, I was helping a ton of people with some material that I did, and other people weren't understanding. So I tried to help them, and people realized that there is like a sharing thing. Like, I wasn't looking for them because, hey, you have to pay me for like tutoring or something. It's like about creating connections. Those connections pay off, as in people will be interested in helping out when they see the opportunity for them to help out. That's networking. Even when you're asking something on LinkedIn, you're not asking, hey, I see that you work at Google. Can you refer me to a position? It's like, hey, I see that you work in a Google. How was your experience in getting into it? How did you? What did you learn? What were you preparing for when you applied to this position? So did you have a portfolio? Like, what did you do? It's not about, hey, you are there, bring me there. It's like, hey, you're there, I would like to understand how.
Yeah,
I think people forget that like your ability to ask questions and also find your way along, like, find out where you're lost is like a very important skill set. And I think we all probably get these messages like at LinkedIn, like, hey, like, well, I know I got a lot of them previously on, like, hey, can I or not even hey, like, hey, can you nominate me to MVP, stuff like that, or hey, can you do you know any jobs at Microsoft? Like, I recently got one of those, or oh, hey, can you be my mentor, or things like that, right? And that goes to the point that you were saying, like, you have to network with intention and honest, like, with like honest and like being, authentic about it, right? It's not like, if you approach it towards like, I need something out of you, I'm gonna like talk to you. I think people can like sniff that out pretty easy. I'll give you the perfect example how I landed this role. I did serverless September with CodeBeast. You guys know CodeBeast. I did it like last September. We like got to know each other, and then we just like stayed friends after that. We played video games, we make music, stuff like just casual chat. And then when this role appeared, I talked with him about it, and he was able to like put in a recommendation. But also his boss, who I had also like worked on something with like previous like months before, but I never like, my goal was never to like become friends with him or become like contacts with him because I wanted to like job. I just generally like wanted like to get to know them. They were awesome people, and especially like his boss had been someone who's like supporting me like on Twitter and just stuff like that for longer than like even knowing him. So like that worked out in the long term for me, and still great friends. Like talk to CodeBeast often, things like that. But you never really know what's going to come out of these like things that you build. But if you're going at it with like, oh, I need something out of you, like you're going to sort of turn into like someone like that people avoid to some extent. But how did I land my first job? Oh, I just applied. I went to I want to work at the Apple Store, and I applied, and then I interviewed, and it worked out. A lot of people have like comments on this one. Oh, here's a good one. Local user groups, a little limited at the moment, but it's good work networking locally. This is why I'm excited that when we open like the Microsoft reactors, especially the New York City one, like people can come by and chat like in person. Like we'll have like user groups, we'll have like events happening there, and like just stop by. Maybe we'll have free pizza. I don't know. Don't take my word on that. Go to your favorite companies, apply on their website, and maybe then contact their recruiter on LinkedIn. Yeah. See, that's what LinkedIn's good for. A lot of people tell me if you're 50% qualified, you should apply and be okay with rejection and use that to inspire you to learn more. Yeah, being okay with rejection is a talent on itself.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, goodness. Right now, the only companies I hear or see through friends or lectures is FANG or Microsoft, the typical top tech. I mean, yeah, those voices are going to get elevated to the top, obviously, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other companies that are like not worth applying to, right? Start small. Cloud Academy. They already asked this. Is Cloud Academy or Cloud Guru or Udemy, which is really helpful? Is this a question or is this a statement? Caroline is saying, "Gotta go." All right, we're probably gonna sign off too because we're almost hitting our hour and a half. So we'll finish up these last ones. I've never heard of companies that use Azure or AWS or GCP or the smaller companies.
Like maybe smaller companies don't use the cloud services. Like I feel like that's gonna change. Like I know that maybe there are some smaller companies that have mostly on-premises stuff. I think it's gonna change eventually.
Yeah, I think it's opposite here. Like smaller companies usually don't have data centers or hardware to support their SaaS. Yeah, they start in cloud.
It's definitely changing because it's cheaper to start in the cloud. It's the bigger company that don't use a lot of the services because they already invested all the money in having on-premises infrastructures.
My company Publix uses a lot of Azure services. It's great considering that my aspirations to work in. My local vet uses Azure. Like they run their payment stuff through.
Nice.
I don't know what exactly, but I could tell because it's like Azure Net or Azure or something like that. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I talked to the person who was at the reception desk. I was like, oh, you guys use Azure? And they were like, what are you talking about? I was like, sorry. Open source cloud computing.
Do you have any specific example? Like I have a couple of examples that I can think of in terms of open source cloud computing, like OpenShift or something like that. But
that's what I was trying to remember the name, OpenShift.
Like I guess that's the only very like open source cloud computing related stuff that I can think out of the top of my head.
Surrounding yourself with awesome people has the advantage of learning through osmosis, but rapport and relationships are built through that mutual exchange of learning. Yeah, which is why I do think things like Twitter are great, right? And like a cool thing is like a lot of times, like advocates at these places will like host challenges and like there'll be a hashtag, and then you'll be able to contribute to that, and you can like maybe it's not a guarantee, but you might be able to connect with different people through that, like I don't know. Like I think like the first thing that the first big, I guess, challenge that I participated in was 25 days of serverless back in 2019, and that's how I met the people who eventually were able to like recommend me. But yeah, it was just like through using social media. Yeah, OpenStack. Yeah, that was the name I was trying to. I don't think I've ever done even like a tutorial on.
Yeah, I don't have anything enough to
any
say about
hands-on at all.
Like because it's I mean it's interesting. Like it's a concept. It's like if you instead of running your own like if you have the space to run your own infrastructure instead of like running AWS stuff, you can install OpenStack on your computer and basically just use the services that they have. But again, I mean, yes, like I don't have any experience in it. Never really worked anything in it, so I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about it.
All right, last one. I'm in NetSec and want to start DevOps Cloud. From where should I start? Please, I work for Fang. I can't. I am NetSec. So you should have networking, right? And then that means you should have some Linux. Yeah, most likely you'll have some Linux experience. Try to like the things that you've done in your role. Can you try to do them in like a cloud platform? So I feel like you probably have like a solid for 4 years.
There's a lot experience. Of dev NetSec in cloud, like and if you want to do DevOps, there is like DevOps is a good. It's not exactly a lateral move; it's more like an oblique move. But it's I feel like there is a lot of like shareable like experience, like baseline experience that can be applied very easily. And also there is a networking and security in the cloud, and that's actually one of the most underrated probably like fields, because it's like very complex and it's very very hard to write. So if you actually have the experience and you can reapply to the cloud space, that's why like the for example the AWS security certification is renowned to be the hardest one among all the certification in AWS. It's because it's a very much more complex than people think, and it takes a lot of experience to do that. So if you have that experience, NetSecOps moving out of the maybe on-prem and moving to the cloud, doing NetSec, it's an option.
Yeah, networking. I think if you ask any, I guess most recent person who works in the cloud, networking is probably their weakest. Like the area. I think that's a safe bet to say. Like, I think a lot of us are not strong in networking. Like, we might understand our basics, we might know how to like poke around and find our way, but like to build actual, networks, like it takes me a while. I don't know about you two.
Oh yeah, I don't like definitely like network is a beast on its own. Whenever like I see people talking about networking stuff on like Twitter, then there is like a big like security thing happening, and like it's networking and cybersecurity are two things I have basically every single time. I'm like, I have no clues what the hell everyone is talking about. Like everyone is so excited to talk about it. And I even follow some people in the infosec space, but I am like, what the heck is happening?
I whenever I used to know this guy who could like diagram stuff out, just like, that we'll have to like VNet here, subnet here, throw a gateway in front of this, and I'm like, what? All this from like scratch. But he'd been like an OG networking person, so he was just like translating stuff into Azure. So it was like pretty straightforward for this person. But it's just like, it's like a language on its own.
And I think I was able to like translate my networking kind of teachings from the program I took towards cloud. But yeah, it's still like a big part of cloud, especially like GPS said, like being able to scratch out a VPC diagram and how the architecture would work just on paper and pen is hard.
Yeah. All right. Last, I think we got like the biggest one. Someone's asking, how's Microsoft going? How's it going at Microsoft? It's great. End of week 2, meeting a bunch of awesome people. It's funny because it's like people that I've known about for a while and like I've looked up to, and now I'm like casually in a one-on-one Teams call with them. It's freaking amazing. Now I got to deal with like moving, that kind of stuff.
When are you moving out here?
Before the summer ends. I'm like focusing on like either like which area. I think maybe Lenox Hill. I'm thinking, but before the summer ends, like definitely before September 1st. So I'm thinking probably August 1st. It's just about like finding the right place now. I see. So far Microsoft great. That's really all I could say, kind of. Oh wait, hold on. I think we got everything.
I think
we definitely missed stuff.
Yes.
But we
if
probably
we missed anyone,
follow us on Twitter and then tweet at us, and we might be able to
please
feel free to
add us
questions.
Feel free to add us, follow us or anything, and we try to help as much as we can.
Yeah, we try. That's it. All right, signing off. Thank you all. It's pretty live chat. I think this is the best one we've done so far, so they're only getting better. And see you all, I don't know, at some point. Alf, don't disappear again.
Oh no! Now, if you tell me I'm here every as long as we are in non-working hours, I'm always here.
I think Thursday evenings are like the like it's what's worked the best. I think, right, Rishab? Like Thursday evenings, like for like the chat, and also for us like this time Thursdays.
For sure.
But anyway,
always here.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. See y'all.
All right, bye.
Bye.